All right, here's an example. This is actually page 275, number 8. Sorry to any teachers that might be using my videos for their class and plan to assign this. But anyways, there's a guy. Let's say his name is Andrew. He has these marks in class. He's got an 82% in English. That's his final mark there. 75 in French, 78 in art, 80 in science, 80 in socials. But he's not done his math unit or his math class. He wants 80% as his total average, his overall average. And maybe it's because he could qualify for a scholarship or something if he has that 80 average. He wants to figure out, what mark do I need to get in math so that my overall average will be 80%. Okay? And we know that averages like this, percents, they often are talking about the mean. So he wants a mean of 80%. He wants his mean to equal 80%. Now we know that mean would mean 82 plus 75 plus 78 plus 80 plus 80. It would be all those plus this thing we don't know. So let's give it a variable. Let's give m for math. It would be m for math. And it's going to be all divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 subjects that he took that semester. It's going to be divided by 6. We'll have to equal 80 because that's the percent he wants. 80 has to equal all of this with this variable. So what are we going to do to figure this out? Thinking back to our equations unit, we know that if we're dividing by 6, to get rid of that dividing by 6, we need to multiply both sides by 6. We're going to multiply by 6, right? Both sides by 6. So I'm going to multiply this side by 6. And I remember telling people I like using the brackets. I don't like that x because I mix it up with a variable often. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. And I'm left with 6 times 80. 6 times 8 is 48. So 6 times 80 is 480. Should be 82 plus 75 plus 78 plus 80 plus 80 plus m. Now, I'm going to add all of this up and subtract it from this side, and it's going to get rid of all this. And if I subtract from this side, I need to subtract from this side. So I added on the side, 80 plus 80 plus 78 plus 75 plus 82. All of these added up is 395. So this is 480 equals 395 plus m. I'm going to subtract 395, not 995, 395 from both sides. And I'm going to get that m is equal to 85. So m is 85. What mark does he need to get in math? Andrew will need 85% in math in order to bring up his average to 80%. You'll notice if you have a lot of marks that are kind of bringing things down, or even one that's substantially down, like if you think about it, he has 2 at 80, he has one that's above 80, he has 2 that are below. These ones that are brought down, he's going to have to counteract that by getting a lot more in here. Look how many marks there are above 80 from English. There's 2 marks bigger than 80. 82 subtract 80 is 2. So there's 2 positive marks there, right? Here, how many below 80 marks do we have? 78 is 2 less than 80. 75 is 5 less. Now notice something. This mark that we determined that he needs to get in math is 5 more, right? We have 5 more, 2 more, that's 7 more. We had 2 less and 5 less, that's 7 less. Notice that the number that we ended up with is going to counteract these, so that these marks that he didn't get in French, he has to make up in math, because this English, those 2 were matched with the 2 that he didn't get in art. That would bring it to 80, which is the average he wants. So this is a calculation you can use and do if you want to figure out what your average is going to be I've done this. I've wanted a certain mark in a class, and I was thinking, what mark do I need to get on the final exam in order to get the mark that I'm wanting in class? So I do the calculation, and there were times where I thought, wow, I could get 50% on this test, and I'd still get the really good mark because they use mean for the average. And there's other times where I was like, oh, I need to really work, and I might need to get in high 90s in order to bump it up to 90.